Our gospel lesson this morning comes from John chapter 1, verses 6 through 8 and 19 through 28, which can be found on pages 91 and 92 in your pew Bible if you'd like to follow along. Let us together listen for the voice of the Lord. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came as a witness to testify to the light so that all might believe through him. He himself was not the light, but he came to testify to the light. This is the testimony given by John when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, "Who are you?" He confessed and did not deny it. He confessed, "I am not the Messiah." And they asked him, "What then? Are you Elijah?" He said, "I am not." "Are you the prophet?" He answered, "No." Then they said to him, "Who are you? Let us have an answer for those who sent us. What do you say for yourself?" He said, "I am the voice of one crying out, 'In the wilderness make straight the way of the Lord,' as the prophet Isaiah said." Now they had been sent from the Pharisees, and they asked him, "Why then are you baptizing if you are neither the Messiah, nor Elijah, nor the prophet?" John answered them, "I baptize with water. Among you stands one whom you do not know, the one who is coming after me. I am not worthy to untie the thong of his sandal." This took place in Bethany, across the Jordan, where John was baptizing. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Did you notice how early Christmas decorations went up this year? Households around the church in this neighborhood and in my own neighborhood were putting up outdoor Christmas lights well before Thanksgiving. And it seems like every year since Christmas 2020, you remember that year? It seems like every year since, the decorations have come down from the attics and been dragged out of storage and pulled out of the garages earlier and earlier. This year I saw pictures on my friends' social media feeds of artificial Christmas trees fully decorated in beautiful family rooms, complete with stockings and tinsel and bells in mid-November. There are holiday purists out there who decry this early decorating as some sort of affront to the season itself. That somehow Christmas as a season will be cheapened if we start it too early or if we extend it too long, and many wait until today, the first Sunday in Advent, to even begin putting up their tree and decking their halls. I understand their perspective. The season of Advent, the season of eager anticipation and quiet preparation, can indeed get crowded out by all of the twinkling lights and holiday glamour and early Christmas sales. It can feel like everything is in just such a rush all the time. And in the midst of that hustle and bustle, we do run the risk of missing something important. Time. Space. Rest. Room to simply breathe. To be. I have a theory as to why the decorations seem to come out earlier and earlier and stay up longer and longer each year. And it has nothing to do with the commercialization of the season or sales figures. I actually think that there's a longing at work in the depth of our beings for something beautiful, something other, something different. Something that contains echoes of a time when things at least seemed simpler Something that takes us back and yet simultaneously brings a hint of a promise that things can be different, if only for a short period of time right now. I mean, I don't know about you, but I enter this Advent season overwhelmed in many ways. There's just so much happening in the world that weighs heavy on the mind and the spirit. It can feel like it's just too much. We awake every day to the news of war and destruction, and innocent lives lost, and children caught in the middle of conflicts that defy explanation and even reason at times. Conflicts with seemingly no end in sight, and little willingness on the part of the leaders to figure out a different way forward. Hunger, disease, disaster seem to be ever present. There's a violence on the streets and in the neighborhoods in our own community. Anger and rage on the roadways. Division is rampant, not just in our politics, but down the road, across the street, and maybe even next door. And all of this doesn't even take into account the pain and anguish that is unique to many right here in our own community of faith. In fact, you may be wrestling with your own list of sorrows, burdens, worries, and anxieties, an unexpected diagnosis, bullying, aging parents, failing health, financial woes, relationship struggles, depression. And in the midst of all of this, on this first Sunday in Advent, we are called to hope. Hope, of all things. It just seems impossible many days to hope. So I think people will find any excuse today for twinkling lights on their houses in order to bear light into the heavy burdened night. We climb the pull-down attic stairs and go explore the farthest corners of our basements to find those boxes labeled Christmas decorations in search of symbols, markers along the way that can serve as a reminder, even in the midst of everything else, that there is reason to hope. A deep reason to hope. And all of these lights, this glitter, can serve as a beautiful reminder. And if we squint our eyes, the light seems to dance and almost becomes something totally different. It has the power to transform us, so we hang the lights and we decorate the tree. It's almost as if they themselves become the voice crying out in the wilderness, "Prepare the way of the Lord." It's hope that makes us do this strange thing. It's this hope, this dangerous hope, that leads us to do audacious, foolish, and even absurd things, at least in the eyes of those who just can't see. You see, hope's not wishful thinking. It's something totally different. Hope carries the weight of anticipation. Hope has its strength in assurance. Hope requires movement toward that which we hope. Hope asks that we live as if it is already here. Hope is a counter-narrative to that which we hear and see and experience every day. Hope is present tense. And because of this, hope has the power to sustain us in the midst of a life of uncertainty and a world of dissonance. This is not because of the one who hopes, but because of the one in which the hope is placed. And this hope can be found in the lights and the tinsel and the nativity sets. This hope is in the work of our hands and in the purposed steps of our feet. The manner in which we speak and live bear witness to the transformative power of this hope. Hope doesn't wait. A hope that sees a better tomorrow and has the courage to help build it. The prophet said, "In the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord. Make straight a desert in the desert for the highway for our God. Every valley shall be lifted up, and every mountain and hill made low. The uneven ground shall become level, and the rough places a plain. The glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all people shall see it together." My friend Rabbi Brett Krishover from Indianapolis Hebrew congregation just down the road said this: "Even in the darkest times, especially in the darkest times, I find that the human spirit shines through. In the small gestures of kindness we make to one another, a smile, a note, a simple cup of coffee. These kindnesses remind me that after all, we are cut from the same cloth. And I feel optimistic that small points of light will build from where we are and push back against the darkness." So friends, pay attention. Look about. See the signs. Hang the lights. Light a candle in the bleakness. Live as if it can all be different. Prepare the way for hope. To God be the glory. Amen.